Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to cover more Python basics and working with numeric data. Working with numeric data is fundamental in all programming languages, but especially Python with the recent increase in AI and machine learning. And Python goes even further above just the mathematical basics with the numerous libraries that have been developed for advanced mathematical processing in Python, like NumPy. And at the foundation of all of these advanced mathematical usages are these 7 basic operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, a special type of division called floor division, and another special type of division called the modulus, and then exponents, or raising things to the power. The great thing about these built-in fundamental data types is so you don't need any fancy editors to play with them or start using them. You can just use the default installed Python that you have on your system. So starting out, the very first thing we should discuss is the order of operations. If you remember back to high school, you have a thing called PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. So something like 6 divided by 2 plus 2 times 3 minus 1, and then all of that to the power of 2 is going to yield 64 because you have 6 divided by 2, which is 3, and you have 2 times 3, which is 6. So then you would go 3 minus 6 minus 1. Sorry, that is 3 plus 6 minus 1. And that gives you 8. And then you do 8 times 8, which is 8 squared, and you end up with 64. As part of the multiplication division part of that, there was also the floor division and modulus, which are interpreted left to right, just as anything else in that multiplication and division section. Quick overview of the numeric data types. You have your integer, which is your counting numbers, so things like 1, 2, 0, -5. And then you have your float numbers, which are things like 1.2 or 3.6 or 99.99876. And finally, you have your complex types, which are imaginary numbers, square root of -1. So things like 1j or 4j or 1 plus 4j, which yields a complex number. To start working through the initial operands, you have the addition. So 1 plus 1 is 2, right? 3.0, so you get a float plus an integer, which will give you 7 as a float. And then you can also do your complex numbers. So 1 plus 4j gives you the complex number. And then you can also add complex numbers. So 1j plus 2j will give you 3j. And the order doesn't matter with addition. So you could have 1 plus 2, or you could have 2 plus 1, yields the same thing. Subtraction, on the other hand, the order does matter. So you could have 1 minus 1, which will give you 0. If you, let's say, had 1 minus 2, that'll give you -1. But if you do 2 minus 1, you, of course, will get a positive 1. And that works with all of the data types. So 3.0 minus 1.0 with floats, or 3j minus 2j, which will give you 1j. Next is multiplications. You know 1 times 3. And again, the order doesn't matter. And this again works for all the other data types. 3.0 times 2.0 should give us 6.0. And then you can also do it with your complex data types. 3j times 2j will also give you 6j. Moving into division, there are 3 types of division that you can use in Python. You have your regular division, 3 divided by 2, which will give you 1.5, or for a more easy division, 4 divided by 2, which will give you a whole number. Now, if you notice right here, it is spitting out a float when you do that. In older versions, like Python 2, it would do what's called integer division, which means that the decimal portion would not be displayed. So when you're doing 3 divided by 2, where it gives you the 1.5, you would actually only end up getting a 1 because it wasn't taking into account the decimals. In the newer Python versions, 3.0 and above, it will give you that decimal portion. So if you do something like 6 divided by 7, let's say, right, you will get that decimal portion. However, if you don't want that decimal portion, you could use something called floor division, which is these 2 slashes. So if you have 4 divided by 3, normally that'll give you 1.3, but if you go 4//3, you end up doing integer division or floor division, and it rounds down or gives you just the integer portion of this number, 1.3. Now let's say you just wanted the remainder of 4 divided by 3. So you could do 4, the percent sign 3, which is the modulus operator, which will give you the remainder. Let's do 12 modulus 7, right? So if you do 12 divided by 7, you end up with 1 7 goes in and then 0.714285, this big long decimal. But if you just want the actual integer that is remaining, you can do the 12 modulo 7, which will give you the remainder, which is 5. The final operand that we're going to discuss today is the exponent or power operand. So let's say you wanted to take 2 and raise it to a power of 2. You use the 2 stars next to each other. So this would work if you wanted 2 to the power of, let's say, 16, right? You get 65536. And you could do that with any number, 5 to the power of 10, let's say. Which will give you a real big number, right? 5 times 5, 10 times. That sums up the basics of the different built-in operands that come with Python without including any external libraries. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you guys learned something, and I will see you all in the next video.